So when we talk about the genitive case, the number one thing that people tend to think about, the genitive showing possession, which is one of the things it does. Let's look at this sentence right here. Phelem Markham Habio. I have the cat of Marcus, or I have Marcus's cat. Marky right here is in the genitive case, and it is showing possession of this cat. Whose cat is it? It's Marcus. Now, there's more than one use for the genitive case. Although we do see possession being commonly used, there are two other ways that the genitive case is used. So let's go ahead and learn about them. In addition to the genitive of possession, another common way to see a genitive is in the genitive of description. You might have seen these in the stories we read in class. It is a very common construction, so let's take a look at this line right here. Feminae summa calidatis. We can tell that they're genitive because of my genitive endings, but we're still going to translate them the same way as we would a normal genitive with the word of. So we have the woman of the highest cleverness, or the woman of the most cleverness, anything of the idea. The idea is that this woman is very, very clever. And so because it's the genitive, you have this of. Now, it's not possession because it's not like the cleverness is possessing the woman. It's one of the words that's describing her. And because it's not possessing her or anything like that, and it's just a description, this construction is called a genitive of description. And it's one of the uses for the genitive. Let's look at this next one. Vio minimi prudentia, a man of very little prudence. It's the same idea as above. Now, this little prudence is not owning the man, but it is in fact describing him. So this is why it's called a genitive of description. It is just a genitive that is using to describe something else. The last one I want to talk about is the partitive genitive, also known as the genitive of the whole, just depending on who you're talking to. Now, this one might be harder to recognize than the genitive of possession or the genitive of description, because it doesn't exactly always make sense in the English translation. I have three different phrases using the genitive of the whole, or the partitive genitive. So what you'll notice is that I'll have a word in the genitive, like pecuniae, amicorum, and kibi, and then I'll have a word before it which has some sort of amount of something. Like satis is kind of like enough, nihil is nothing, multum is a lot. If you were to translate it literally, like satis pecuniae, it would be enough of money. So if you had the word habio at the end, it would say, I have enough of money. But the reason why it's difficult for us English speakers is we would never say enough of money. We would just drop the of and just say we have enough money. The same idea we have here, nihil amicorum. Amicorum, friends, nothing. It will be, I have nothing of friends. Literally meaning, well, more commonly known as I have no friends. Out of all the friends, I have the nothing or the none amount of them. When it comes to food, I have much of food. Again, we would probably say something like, we have a lot of food. But how do we recognize this? When I think about the partitive genitive, I think of like a pie. So here's my pie. And I can have anything, I can have a certain amount of this pie. I can have maybe some pie, and I'd eat this part right here. I could have half of a pie, so that would be an example of the partitive genitive. I could have much of the pie. I could have all of the pie. And then I could also have none of the pie. So when you see words like satis, which is like enough, multum, which is much, nihil, which technically means nothing, but you're probably going to translate it as no, or plus, any sort of quantity, or like you are most likely going to see a genitive that follows it, and you have an example of a partitive genitive.